Hey guys, welcome back, it's Ripe again. In today's video, a homeowner association fake police Karen stops me and my disabled son and insists that we are not allowed to use the pool like everyone else. She said only normal people can swim in this public pool and she ended up attacking us and the situation got out of control. Let's dive right into the story. So I am the parent of a son who has disabilities, and over the years I have learned that him getting denied a normal life by anybody means that Mama Bear comes out. He got a mixture of physical and intellectual disabilities, but he goes to school and loves all kinds of activities. His favorite one being going to the pool and swimming. When the pool is closed, it can be hard to see him deflate when I explain that we cannot go that day and need to do something else instead. The pool we go to is what I would call partially public. It is public for the people that live in the area because we pay out of our taxes and HOA fees. Other people think I can join for a membership fee if they want. I still consider this public though, because it's not like owned by a single person or anything, but instead a big pool for everybody. The HOA also has their own security that drives around mainly at night on the streets, but also has a few people constantly at the pool in case of emergency. I don't really know what they would do in an emergency since they are just HOA volunteers and I doubt they're even trained in anything. So when we get to the pool and find some seats to settle down, I am met with the usual stares that the two of us get. My son walking using his crutches and making a mixture of words and noises that people outside of his life cannot really interpret. We have both gotten very used to this, unfortunately to the point that we can mainly ignore it. So he wants to make a beeline for the water and we go to the edge and start doing our thing. Me setting him down at the edge and taking his crutches away before getting into the water first. Then he usually jumps right in with me and starts swimming around. He can pretty much do everything himself, but I like staying close just in case. This trip though, when we are sitting at the edge before going in, we are approached by one of those HOA police members and she stops us. HOA Karen police, hold on right there. Don't go into the water. Me, is there something wrong? HOA police, he cannot go into the pool. They shouldn't even let you in at the gate. I can tell from the tone and look right away where this is going, and right away Mama Bear comes out to play. Me, he certainly can go into the pool. We are members and are following every single rule. HOA police, he can get hurt going into the water and close it for everybody. This is a pool for normal people, not ones like him. The way she told him was in disgust, like she was talking about some monster and not a 9-year-old ready to get in and start swimming. HOA police, they have swim nights for people like him. It's not today, so pack up and leave before I have to remove you. Me, I would love to see you try and remove me. We both know that you don't have that kind of authority and we have every right to use this pool just like anybody else. And just to note here, there is a special needs swim time about twice a month, but that does not mean that that's the only time all disabled people can go swimming. It's a time that is dedicated to a more quiet and empty pool environment that some kids with disabilities would find better suited. Plus more lifeguards on staff to watch for safety. It's not something my son needs, so we just go whenever we feel like, which is within our right. At this point, one of our neighbors who happens to be at the pool offers to take my son to sit with hers while I sort this out. She knows that there might be an issue and my son does not need to see this. The bright side is my son loves my neighbor's kid and getting to play even outside the pool with him gets him happy and distracted as he starts showing him some YouTube channel they watch together. The fact that another 9-year-old can understand and be perfectly fine with my son, but a fully grown adult wants to fight, really says a lot. I tell her off and that I am not leaving and I want her to get out of my face. She just tells me that I'm not allowed there and disabled people are meant to be kept in their homes during the day when normal people go out. And Ripe stars, by the way, I think the Karen got it a little bit wrong there. I think entitled Karens are meant to be kept in their homes during the day when normal people are out and about. So this way, these entitled Karens and entitled people in general cannot harass disabled people. But anyway, she is spouting every single ableist thing that I hate and it was taking everything in my power to not just slap her right there. I'm normally not violent, but when it comes to my son getting insulted right in public, I feel a certain way. I didn't end up hitting her though, because instead she reached into her belt and pulled out a knife. Again, I don't know a lot, but I know that she has zero right to be armed with anything more than a radio. She actually swings it right at me and tells me to keep my son away from the pool and all the normal people. When she swings, I take a step back and end up going right into the water. My neighbor comes running over to make sure I'm okay, while a lifeguard finally decides it was time to call the actual police. A call was made to evacuate the pool, since I assume that's the protocol for a weapon appearing and everything has to kind of wait. The only two people really talking are me and the fake police lady, who have devolved into yelling at each other. A lifeguard that is clearly not trained for something like this is attempting and failing to keep us calm and quiet until the police arrive. My son, meanwhile, is thankfully just still immersed with his friend and does not have a care in the world. He gets super focused when with friends and watching videos, which is just really lucky for me in this instance. The police do arrive and make her drop the weapon before she starts talking about how it is fine and she is the police and first on the scene. Yeah, she was actually going off like she was an actual cop and responding to some kind of emergency. Her outfit is clearly not one of a cop though, and they know what she actually is. They tell her as much and separate the two of us, with her going one way and me sitting down near my son. I give them the entire story of what she did and want to file a report for her trying to attack me with a knife. I was right, by the way, in that she wasn't allowed to have that weapon and she was gonna be in some serious trouble with both the police and the HOA head. She was arrested for attempted assault and taken away in handcuffs while I was still busy filing out reports. The HOA ended up firing her from her position and giving her a ton of restrictions based on what they were allowed. One big one being she was banned from the pool completely and could not even use it as a resident anymore. By the time things calmed down at the pool, I was frazzled and honestly ready to just go home. My son looking at me with his big eyes, and then the water though caused us to stay just for a little longer so he could finally get the swim in he wanted. And yeah, ripe stars, if you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like the video and maybe even post some star emojis in the comments if you want to support me. Thank you so much. And the next one is a revenge story. So I had two jobs. One was at this country ice house in butt F nowhere outside of my city. This place was pretty small, but was one of the few bars in a certain area, so it would get busy. A lot of good old boys and old field guys, and I worked the door, checked IDs and such, and usually broke up fights or kicked people out. The owner of this place was very hands-on. He liked to micromanage everything. He did not want me to kick people out unless they were throwing punches, and even then to try and talk to them. Never cut anyone off, he said. Had that always be selling attitude, and one night some trouble happens between some regulars and one guy tries to hit another guy with a pool stick. I happened to get hit in the arm but got behind the guy and put him to sleep. Next day, the manager calls me to tell me that I'm being let go. Apparently the pool stick guy spends a lot of money and me putting him to sleep left him bitter, so he called the owner. But that's fine. Anyways, the bar has a nice fancy jukebox. If you have the app, you can just pick songs on your credit card and they will play. If you hit play next on a song, even if they turn the jukebox off, it will play when it starts back up. It's also unskippable. With the master remote, you could skip a song, but they lost that remote, so they really can't do much if someone plays a certain song they don't like, and even if they unplug it, it will play no matter what when they turn it on. So here is my petty revenge. The owner does inventory every Tuesday night. It also happens to be a busy night because they do pool tournaments and it usually gets packed. So here I thought I could probably just play the same song over and over and there's nothing they can really do. I got 20 bucks in credits and that usually gives you about 18 unskippable songs. Plus more depending if the app gifts you credits. So I picked the remix of Cotton Eye Joe that comes in at around 7 minutes a pop, usually when the pool tournament started. 2 hours of hearing the same song has killed their business on Tuesday. Even if they unplug it, it will still play when they plug it back up. I've been doing it for 2 months so far, and last I heard they had to buy a new jukebox at a cost of $5,000. I'll probably stop for a month and then start again. I'm an a-hole, I guess. And yeah, ripe stars, I have to admit, that's one of the most brilliant petty revenge stories I've ever heard. That is one way to either kill a business or make someone spend a lot of money on something like a new jukebox. The next one is titled, Got My Boss Fired. So Mary started working for a college 5 years ago as an administrative assistant. She was given odd and end tasks, one of which was writing up the school handbook. She noted in the handbook that staff were required to time for professional development. After some years and a few promotions, she lands a manager position in the department and spearheads an initiative to have all staff under her have approved time to attend professional development conferences. Karen always rejected this idea, but Mary decided one day to go to Karen's boss, we will call Bob. Bob is great. Once Mary has enough weight in the college, she went around Karen and got Bob to approve conferences for everyone in the department. For the next year or so, everyone got to choose any conference around the continental USA to attend on the company's dime. Everyone would come back with notes taken at every session attended, attached with the conference itinerary and given to their direct superior as proof of attendance. The employee would also present key points learned from their conference at a weekly departmental meeting. Pretty simple morale-boosting opportunity until someone had to abuse it. Karen had been bragging to other department directors as well as to Mary about swimming with dolphins during her recent travel to a conference. Mary didn't think much of it, as usually there was sometimes a free morning or afternoon to do with as you please at these conferences. My wife told me this during our nightly pillow talk, and having been raised in Orlando, where Karen decided to attend a conference, my head popped up and I asked, "Where?" Mary replied with a well-known location, run by a well-known company with a whale for a logo. And Ripe Stars, if you know what kind of company OP is talking about, then please let me know in the comments. Anyway, I quickly replied that they close at 5:30. When did Karen have time for this? Mary, who had access to Karen's itinerary, dropped her jaw when she realized the conference Karen attended did not have free time during business hours of the dolphin swimming experience. Mary then went into an enraged clerical fury as she pulled up Karen's full itinerary for flight, hotel, conference and other reimbursements. The school does most departmental work online, and therefore the school server can be accessed remotely from secured or approved devices like Mary's phone. She also checked the website where Karen went swimming at to confirm hours of operation. According to the record submitted, there was no way Karen had time to swim with dolphins during the experience's normal business hours without missing part of this conference, and according to Karen's itinerary, she was supposed to have attended all sessions. Mary worked hard to have the privilege to travel the country to attend conferences, and Karen just effed it all up. Mary eventually wrote all of this up, attached the itinerary documents, attached photos of the encounter, and apparently from other theme parks that Karen had neglected to mention from social media, attached the hours of operation and sent this all to Bob. Mary texted me about an hour after she got to work the next day saying that Bob was livid. He was currently in the process of questioning everyone. Karen had bragged to see if the stories all matched up. A few days later, Karen was fired from the company for only attending one session of the 3-day conference, lying about her report filed, and using company funds for travel, hotel and food to go play at theme parks, and for submitting a time card to get paid while doing all of that. Although Mary's name was anonymous through all of this, Karen seemed to blame Mary anyway. Karen sent mean and dark texts to Mary several times until the school could send a cease and desist. Worst of all, I guess Karen's husband was a deadbeat, so not only did Karen have to trade in her massive SUV for a smaller vehicle, she had also just signed on a new house only days before she was fired, and now had no income to support the said home. I'm not completely cynical, people should not be homeless. However, Karen had also taken credit for a lot of Mary's work, made Mary do Karen's workload while Karen went AFK, and many other instances of foul play I cannot remember because there's just so much pillow talk. Needless to say, Karen reaped what she sowed. And the next one is an Am I the Jerk story. So in my neighborhood, the houses are built sort of like a sandwich. So there's my house, my driveway, a shared hedge and fence, my neighbor's driveway, and then his house. I hope that's clear. So my neighbor has 2 kids, each of whom have their own car. They have 4 cars in total, and my family has 2. There is no street parking. Our driveways lead to detached garages. His kid has the bad habit of parking in my driveway when I am not home. He can park between our houses and just walk to his side entrance. I'm sort of done asking him not to do this, but I'm not calling bylaw enforcement or towing him. I did not want grief in the neighborhood, and yesterday he did it again. So then I parked behind him and went for a bike ride. We are enjoying a beautiful Indian summer. When I got back, I noticed that the hedge was torn up. It was kind of hard to miss. I guess what happened is after he got home, everyone else left. I have no idea why he did not call a cab or an Uber. What he did instead is drive over the hedge between our driveways. These are not little raspberry brambles. These are legit 30-year-old hedges. And anyway, his dad is sitting there looking at the hedge. He asks me if I know what happened, and I said come over for a beer and we can check my surveillance. So now the kid is choked because he has to pay to replace the hedge and his car is all scratched up. I guess he had been warned he would be fired if he was late for work again. So then the kid thinks I'm the a-hole for blocking him in on purpose, which I guess I sort of did, but the consequences were completely unintended. Honestly, I was planning on moving the car to let them out when I got home. He could have called an Uber. Hell, he could have called in sick even. So, comment number 1, the neighbor kid parked on your property, on top of it damaged something. And then he has the audacity to be choked to be held accountable for his actions? Well, welcome to adulthood. You are clearly not the a-hole. Comment number 2, not the a-hole, he knew not to park on your private land you had not authorized him to use. He learned an expensive lesson, he made a bad decision. There was options like you said, he could have called Uber or asked a friend. And yeah, Ripe Stars, I would 100% agree here, OP is definitely not in the wrong and is definitely not the a-hole. However, let me know in the comments what you think about this. I would love to hear your opinion. This story is titled, It's Gonna Be a Long One, Effin' Stuart. It all started when I bought my condo in San Diego, California. The escrow was delayed because of legal issues regarding a flooring issue. I was told Stuart, the downstairs unit who was also the president of the HOA, had a lawyer trying to say that there was not enough padding in between the newly installed vinyl plank flooring. The previous owner was a bedridden older lady, so she did not walk around much, I guess. My first experience with Stuart was like this. On Thursday, September 5th at around 12:40 p.m, I was walking to my car. I saw Stuart, my downstairs neighbor, and said hi as I put my gym bag in my car. Stuart walked towards me and I said, I hope everything is good. I have not seen you in a while. Stuart said, yes, we have had some health problems. I said, let me know if you need anything. As I walked towards the back of my car, Stuart then started interrogating me. Stuart said, I have something personal to ask you. What do you do? Are you retired or on disability? I'm assuming he asked this because I have a service dog and I said, I'm a scientist. Stuart, for the Navy? I said, yes, a civilian. Stuart, when do you go to work? I looked at my watch because I needed to go and I was getting uncomfortable by the line of questioning. Stuart said, do you need to go? I said, yeah. Then Stuart said, so did you have financial responsibility for the flooring now? I said, yes, because when I moved in, the HOA lawyer had no response really for the flooring. All the lawyer told me was that the flooring met the padding of the HOA standards. I've not heard anything besides me personally calling the lawyer before I moved in because I closed on the condo and I was ready to move in since my apartment lease expired. Stuart said, that is because I have not made any noise about it. I hear your dogs walking back and forth all day. I said, yeah, he walks around during the day. I had carpet added so you would hear it less, but it is a bottom unit so there will be some noise. I just moved from a house to an apartment to a condo and Stuart interrupted me and said, do you have copies of all the flooring documentation? I said, yeah, Stuart. Would you send that to me? I said, I will check to see what information I can give you. Is that why you were asking all those questions? Stuart said, I like to get information on everyone, because I know everyone around here. I think if she was lying about the floor, then we can both go after her. I have a copy that you can use. I said, yeah, I gotta go. I'll look up that information. And he gave me his number if I had any questions. I just wanted to get this interaction reported and on paper because I felt a little threatened and interrogated, because he knows everyone. And also, I want to feel safe in my own place even if I live over the HOA president. I reported him to the property management company and they said that everything was resolved and that their lawyer sent a letter to Stuart telling him my flooring was up to the standard in the CC&Rs. After this incident, a couple of neighbors told me Stuart was asking about me. Then I had someone move into the room to rent. One day he said that Stuart stopped him and said that my dog was howling and that he was walking around all day scratching at the floor. I have a security camera with a sound alert. Duke, my dog, literally sleeps all day and if he gets up it's to drink water. Then a couple of weeks later, Stuart stopped my roommate again and said that I needed to get a shock collar because he's been barking all day, which is also a lie. I have video footage to prove it. And then my second incident with Stuart happened. The second incident was reported on October 12th and this is what was said. I was coming home and parking in my garage. When I was getting out of my car, Stuart walked by my garage. Stuart said hi. I said, Don't effing say hi to me because you decide to go behind my back and talk to my friends about the flooring issue that is not an issue. Stuart said, I'm sorry, did I offend you? As he was walking closer, the little white dog he was walking started barking and lunging at Duke. We could not go anywhere because I had just parked my car, so we were in the 1.5 foot space in between my car and the garage wall. I said, get the F out of my garage. He said, can I say something? I said, no, the F you cannot. Leave me and whoever the F comes to my door, whether it's my friends or effing Postmates. Don't talk to them about me or my floor or my service dog. Stuart said, but can I say one thing? I said, no, get out of my garage. You have no effing say at all about the flooring issue, and you have sure as hell no way to tell me to put a bark collar on my service dog, dude. Get out of my way because I want to get the F out of my garage. And I don't think Stuart said anything and then walked away. I reported this to the property management and they in turn reported it to the HOA board except Stuart. They came back and said that Stuart would not be involved in any of my HOA issues and he was told to leave me alone. Then, in 2020, my gas bathroom started leaking down to his unit. It was a pivot stop or something. I had an emergency plumber come out and fix it after I turned off the water. Then I contacted my insurance. The total damage was around $23,000. My home insurance said that I needed to do a claim through the HOA insurance because the CC&Rs show they cover some of the damage. I reached out to the property management company to submit a claim. They asked the HOA board, including Stuart, and they denied it, stating it was not their responsibility. I told them that they are not an insurance adjuster, so they cannot say that it is not their responsibility when it is stated in the CC&Rs. My home insurance disagreed with them as well, and they said they would not move forward unless the HOA insurance company denied it. So after going nowhere for a month, I reached out to the HOA insurance directly. They approved my team and reviewed the CC&Rs and said they did cover it. After a few months and an insurance adjuster coming out, they sent a check to the HOA board and approved an amount of $13,000 minus the $10,000 deductible. After the HOA insurance said that they submitted that to the HOA board and it cleared their account, I reached out to the HOA board and property management company and they said they would not send it out to me because they still don't believe it was their responsibility. So now in September they've been dealing directly with their insurance and they dropped the entire amount to $220 to what they believe they will cover. Update: to make this short and sweet, I am now writing this almost a year later and the internal structure of the HOA board has completely changed. The old HOA president was voted out due to fraud and embezzlement and the new board is much easier to deal with and it seems like they are a decent bunch. They acknowledged my situation and have taken responsibility. I was paid the full amount I was owed, thank God. HOAs apparently don't always have to be awful.
What is Disney? Oh, Disney is hungry. Hello. So this is what Disney is doing when you guys are not watching. Naughty, naughty kid. My girlfriend said she's not biting, she's actually just nibbling. But I still would not put my finger. Cute Disney. Like a white cloud on the floor. Actually, she does this only if you tease her like this. Like with me, she never does this. So I never touch it. It's me.